Hello again. I'm Pastor Paul here in the sanctuary at St. Andrew of Canyon Lake, and we are thinking and praying our way through the words Jesus said from the cross. 7 times he spoke from the cross, and we're looking at each one of those. Last time, it was a prayer of confidence, quoting the Psalms. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, from Psalm 31. But Jesus prayed from the Psalms another time from the cross. It's actually the one thing we hear from Jesus on the cross if you read Matthew or Mark, so it's very important. And this time it's from Psalm 22, and this time it's a cry of anguish. And Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? You can hear the anguish, and it's desperate. There's a sense of abandonment, right, in those words. And it's shocking sometimes for us to hear Jesus say that. Jesus, who we think of having that such closeness with God that indeed they are one. And yet he can say these words, my God, why have you forsaken me? It's important, though, that we hear those words from Jesus and that we not, write them off somehow. Sometimes we he did that to fulfill Scripture, as if then it doesn't matter what the words are. Well, it matters what the words are. And it's actually a gift for us if we can engage with what he said. It would be, to put maybe too fine a point on it, it'd be a very different religion if Jesus from the cross looked down and said, well, everybody remember that everything happens for a reason. No, that's not what he says. He says, my God, why have you forsaken me? The theological word or scripture word for that is a lament. And it's something most of us have not been taught or just aren't very good at, although Scripture models it for us again and again. And here Jesus takes those words of Scripture and models it for us. Not that he's doing all this to model something for us, but we see what faith looks like in this moment in him. And faith looks like lament. Lament, honestly, is what is left to us when our two options are to give up on God completely or to cry out to God and say, this isn't right. And faith in those moments needs to be ready to cry out to God, my God, why have you forsaken me? If you've probably had the experience where somebody is angry at you but hasn't told you they're angry or why, and then at some point later you say to them, why didn't you tell me that you were so angry at me? Maybe then we could have done something about it, right? I think lament is what God gives us so that doesn't happen. When we are angry or just lashing out or just so afraid, feeling abandoned, we have these words in the form of lament to cry out to God as Jesus does when he's in that situation. It's a little bit like that strange story in Genesis 32. It's really strange, but I love it, where Jacob wrestles with God all night long. Why this happens and what all it means is pretty mysterious, but they wrestle and wrestle. And God is saying, let go. And Jacob says, I will not let you go. And sometimes that is what faith looks like. And hearing these words from Jesus on the cross shows us and gives us permission and gives us even the words to use when that is all faith can be for us, is hanging on, crying out to God and saying, this isn't how it's supposed to be. So as you think about these words from the cross, you might think about times when you have been able to lament or when it would have really helped if you'd known how and had those words and felt like you had permission to cry out to God when things felt out of control. And then so important in all of these words to know that Jesus has been there and that the next time you find yourself to remember not just Jesus' words of faith, but also Jesus' words of anguish, to know that he understands, he's not scared off by moments like that, and he'll be with us. Thanks.